detailed limit that we want to look at in this section. And then, like I said, we'll be wrapping it up and moving on. And if you say that the limit as x goes to a equals infinity, what that means is okay, if you say the limit is infinity, it means that instead of picking some small tolerance around a specific number, you pick some big number. And no matter how big a number you pick, you're able to find a little tolerance around your special x value, so that if you have x's within that tolerance, the y values are bigger than the big number you picked. And that proves it goes to infinity because nobody put a limit on how big of a number you could choose. So if you're able to choose any big number and still find x's that give you function values bigger than that big number, then that means you've proven that the limit goes to infinity. So there's no epsilon in this case, instead it's replaced with a big number m. There still is our delta. And the question on your paper there, like, temporarily plugs in a big number, but I'm going to do some algebra with that specific big number, and then we'll kind of model it with that big number replaced with an m. Okay, so I'm not writing this out like a formal proof right now. We're just focusing on the algebra. Okay, so we'll just kind of focus on the algebra. So we're proving right now using specifically 10,000, but the idea of the limit going to infinity means you could pick that to be any big number, m, any big number. Okay, so I'm trying to play with this basically to figure out what my delta would have to be. So I'm multiplying both sides by the denominator, and then I'm going to divide both sides by the 10,000 in this case. Over here I'll divide by m. Then I'm going to take the fourth root of both sides. And we'll just, again, in this case I can assume the positive because the fourth root is even. The fourth root would always be positive, but then over here it'll be so what So what we have shown here is that as long as x is within 1/10 of 3, of negative 3, f of x will be greater than 10,000. Over here, we're basically saying that as long as x is within the 4th root of 1 over m of negative 3, f of x will be greater than m. Okay, so that's just an example of how somebody goes about trying to show that something goes to infinity algebraically. You're basically, I guess I should leave this as a greater than. Notice I didn't solve for x. I technically solved for x minus a. My a was negative 3, so because you're trying to find the tolerance around your value, so you don't need to solve for x itself. You just need to solve for x minus a. I know I always tell this funny little story. I have a friend who lives out of town that had 2 cats, and she named one of the cats Delta and one of the cats Epsilon. And I went to visit my friend, and I was there for a little while, and I realized there was only 1 cat around. And I was asking about Epsilon. I said, "Oh, where's Epsilon?" And she told me this kind of sad story that they moved, and Epsilon didn't like the move, or he, had something wrong with him, and it caused him to start acting very ornery, and he was like peeing on, I don't know, their tax papers and just stuff. And he was being a major, he must have been a major nuisance, or she probably wouldn't have done this. So they took him to the pound, but he was an older cat, so you could kind of